Hey, what's good, everybody? Hope you guys are doing well here tonight. It is March 12th, and I got a delay. Why? Why do I have the delay? Doesn't matter. It is still March 12th, 2024, and we are back on live here on the Delgado Show. Man, I got to tell you, it has been a phenomenal weekend. Had all kinds of crazy stuff happen this weekend. Had my birthday this weekend on the 9th, and I tell you, we went out to, what was that, Texas Roadhouse. Oh my God, I absolutely love that place. But yeah, we had the opportunity to go out to that, to a couple little birthday celebrations. But Monday came around, everything, and I mean everything, went to the moon. Um, one of the first things I want to show you guys here today, and I don't know if you guys, before we go any further into the first topic that I'm going to talk about here tonight. I, wow. Okay, that was a little weird. But anyway, before I get into anything on the first topic tonight, the first thing I got to do is put out a disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I do not give financial advice. These are just my thoughts and opinions on certain economic matters. I'm also not a lawyer. I do not give legal advice either, just the same. Now, that being said, if you haven't been paying attention to the cryptocurrency market, hell, if you haven't been paying attention to the cryptocurrency markets in the last 4, 5, 6 years, you've kind of been living under a stone. And I'm going to pull something up here because I find this absolutely fascinating. If you look at the price chart of Bitcoin, Bitcoin today broke an all-time high of $73,000. Let me see if I can get it here. We're looking at tradingview.com. And if you go there, you're going to take a look. And this is just on a 1 month chart. If you take a look right here, this was, let's see, what date does it tell me here? February 26th, 2024. Bitcoin is trading right around $52,000. And between the 26th of February to today, March 12th, Bitcoin has been on a parabolic tear, going as high as $73,000. And within, I think, a couple hours, it dipped down to like 68 here. But if we expand this here on a 1 year, this is one of those things where I really, really, really want to kick myself on the backside, because if I go back here to January of 24, let's see, yeah, January 24 puts Bitcoin at 44,000. Let's go back. That's 1 year. That's year to date. Okay, let's go to the 1 year chart. I mean, they were trading as low as $30,000 going back January 12th of 23. You see that right here? And then you really want to an eye opener here. Let's go back just 2 years here. Let's see. I think that, yeah, around mid-December of 22, you could have got in on Bitcoin at around $16,000. Now, I know $16,000, but any thousands of dollars sounds like a lot, and it is. It's not like I have 16 grand just sitting around in the house here or my pants. Nobody does. But that's why you do certain things like dollar cost average into markets. And it doesn't matter if it's cryptocurrency markets, stock markets, whatever your investment portfolio is, you dollar cost average in. So what exactly is that? What is dollar cost averaging? Dollar cost averaging is, let's say you set up a schedule, right? And maybe you get paid bi-weekly. So every week you set aside a certain amount of money, and that's what you put into whatever your investments are. You're going to buy X amount of stocks. You're going to buy X amount of crypto. You're going to buy X amount of Bitcoin, whatever it is that you're investing into. That's dollar cost averaging. And you keep that schedule. And for the people that were dollar cost averaging out here, I mean, look here, March of 2020, you're looking at, is that number correct? Yeah, you're looking at about $6,000 Bitcoin back in March of 2020. And if you look over here in that bull run in less than a year, no, just a bit over a year, it hit an all-time high of around $69,000. That is wild. So, yeah, the Bitcoin bull run is in full effect right now. And I got to tell you guys, you need to check it out. My recommendation to everybody, when it comes to investments, when it comes to cryptocurrencies, when it comes to any type of things like that, do your own research. Understand that cryptocurrency is a volatile market. It is not for the weak hands. It is for the people that are looking long term. And do your research into your projects. Don't just pick something because it is the meme coin of the day. It is something flashy. No, I'm telling you because, and there's a reason I'm bringing up Bitcoin. Bitcoin is very important because if you look at what's happening right now, you have companies like Grayscale, MicroStrategies, you have BlackRock, which is just eating up Bitcoin right now. I think, as a matter of fact, they are the second largest holder of Bitcoin at this point, surpassing Grayscale. That's Michael Saylor and Grayscale. Um, and obviously, last month, the SEC approved a Bitcoin ETF. And do not be surprised if in the month of May, you're looking at the potential for an Ethereum ETF. If you don't know what those are, I highly encourage you to do some research on it because if you have retirement funds with things like, with BlackRock, Fidelity, Grayscale, MicroStrategies, like I mentioned here. I don't think MicroStrategies does that, but there's 11 ETFs that were created out there. You're going to want that Bitcoin exposure. You're going to want that Ethereum exposure. Maybe you don't want to hold crypto itself, but you're going to want that exposure. Obviously, you want to get the most growth and gains for your retirement. That's just my take, but take that for what it is. But yeah, we are in that crypto bull run right now. And so, but boy, we got a lot of stuff to talk about here tonight. Yes, Joe Lozano in the house here. The Goya King has arrived. Give him your hearts and minds, people. Let's hear people. I love that. I love, man. Got to give a shout out to the repo man himself. There we go. Topic one I want to take on here tonight, and it is a controversial topic, and it's controversial because, well, if you listen to a particular group of people, they will tell you. Now, before I even get into that, let me give this disclaimer because I feel like I need to give disclaimer after disclaimer after disclaimer tonight. Second disclaimer. I'm going to talk about an individual. His name is Robin Voss. And in full disclosure, let me put this out here. I know Robin Voss. I'm not going to say like we're boys, we hang out, we dap each other up, nothing like that. I know who he is. He knows who I am. Robin Voss is the Republican Speaker of the Assembly. And by the way, I thought it was comical. I was watching some videos today where some young lady was doing a TikTok video or something like that. He's the Speaker of the House. No, sweetheart. Get your nomenclature correct. It's the Assembly. Big difference. I'm sure they function the same, but names are important. So just remember that. Anyway, Robin Voss and I'll get to the Bitcoin comment here in a minute. Robin Voss and I got to know him a bit. I want to say around 2020, 2021. And I always knew who he was. And I actually got into a bit of an online back and forth with him. And admittedly, I was very much out of line. And what the argument was that we had was that, in Robin Voss's opinion, he represented the 63rd district, which is his assembly district. And even as a Speaker of the Assembly, my position was that, yes, I understand you are accountable to the constituents of the 63rd. However, as the Speaker of the Assembly, you do have a larger duty to the entire state at large. We went back and forth on it. It got really contentious. Months passed by. I don't know, somehow we reconnected. I apologize for my part. I still maintain my argument. However, it became more of a cordial civil discussion. I got to meet Robin Voss on a couple of different occasions. Very nice guy. I have no personal grudge against him. I went a couple of years ago to the state capitol. One of my children, they had a field trip down there. And it was kind of a really cool deal because one of Robin Voss's staffers, I found out that I was in the state capitol and had given me a state flag, which I'm honored to have received. Now, I want to make sure I put that out there because I don't need anybody. And I'm sure somebody's going to say, wow, you're selling out to to the establishment, you're this, you're a rhino, you're that. And I swear, I'm so sick of people saying that word rhino over and over and over again that it is literally lost its meaning. And anybody who has watched this program for any period of time, you know, I've never claimed to be Republican. I've always said that I was conservative. I just happen to align more with Republicans because that is the vehicle that has the best opportunity of getting the things that I want done legislatively. Now, am I Republican in the sense that, yes, now I am a quote unquote a member of my county party, a voting delegate, and all the good stuff that goes along with that? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But if you ask me, where do I align myself? I see the area of being a conservative to have a lot more freedom than pigeonholing myself into something like Democrat, Republican, Libertarian. Too restrictive, in my opinion. Now, you may argue, you may think otherwise, but the reason I want to bring up Robin Voss here is because obviously, if you've been paying attention here in Wisconsin, there's been this whole effort to recall Robin Voss. And people have been sending me all kinds of things over the past several months about it. And I really haven't given my take too much. Sure, I may have commented here and there, kind of alluding to what I was thinking. And I certainly have talked to some people in private. But let me just throw this out here right now. The idea of recalling Robin Voss, Speaker of the Assembly, who is trying to keep a majority within the assembly, has got to be one of the dumbest freaking things I have seen in an election cycle. And let me tell you why. Every time I see people talking about pushing this recall effort, it seems personal. It seems juvenile. It seems like, I almost want to go find like, some little doll. I'm like, show me on the doll where Mr. Voss hurt you. It seems petty. And I get it. You don't like the fact that Voss did not fire or impeach or whatever Megan Wolf from Wisconsin Election Commission. Well, you don't win them all. I get it. You don't like the fact that Robin Voss won re-election by 73% in the general election. And I know people are going to throw out, well, he almost lost the primary by like 260 votes. That's true. That's absolutely true. But he still won. Whether you win by 1, whether you win by 2, whether you win by 20,000, doesn't matter. A win is still a win. Okay. You don't like the fact that he said that he's going to do everything in his power to make sure Trump is not the nominee. Hey, guess what? I said the same thing too. Why? I didn't really like Trump. I love Trump's policies. But what Trump had become from 2021 on to within the last few months was just something I was not willing to rock with. But there is a reality that does set in, and I think even Robin Voss has hit that point. He is going to be the nominee. And we are seeing the more presidential side of Trump coming out here when he's speaking. And I don't think there's anybody, any conservative, any Republican, anybody right-leaning that has an issue with a lot of Trump policies. Who could argue against no new wars? Who could argue against the Abraham Accords? Who could argue against what Jim Cramer himself has said were the best economic numbers of our lifetime going back to 2019? Now, for sure, there's much to be criticized about Trump. The way he pops off at the mouth, what happened during COVID. Hell, you can even throw in warp speed for all I care. But there was so much more better that was there. And even Robin Voss acknowledges that. So on Monday, the recall group went to the state assembly or to the Wisconsin Elections Commissions, and they turned in all their ballots. They claim to have almost 11,000 votes or signatures. And I'm going to pull some things up here right now. Let's pull this here. Which website do we want to go to? I think we're going to go to the AP. So let's pull that up right now. Let's see. Want to make sure. No. Hang on. Let's find that again. That is, yeah, AP Wisconsin elections. Okay. All right. Here we go. Excuse me. And by the way, to the individual that mentioned who wants Bitcoin, let's get that comment pulled up here. There we go. Who wants Bitcoin? Same Bankman Fried takes money. Well, there's a difference between Bitcoin and SBF. SBF was the head of FTX there. That was a trading platform. And quite honestly, if you have any Bitcoin, the best thing you could possibly do is make sure you put in cold storage. But that's a whole different matter. Anyway, let's get to the story here. Break it down here. You ever notice when you get to some of these websites like the AP, they got like all this ad space and all this garbage up here, and it's like makes it very difficult to source through. All right. So, Wisconsin election review shows recall targeting GOP leader falls short of signatures needed. Now, it's important that we examine right off the top because the recall effort went out on what they claim to be almost 11,000 votes. It's all, I think this will be reported here later on, but a lot of these people that went out for signatures, these individuals were getting help by Democrats. They went out and spoke to Democrat organizations, email, text, it sent messages on X. And then there was a lot of people from out of state that were going around canvassing. They were out, for signatures. To me, that's just kind of wild. If this is a true grassroots thing, then do you need to pay them that way? And I get it. There's something to be said paying people, but yeah, I'll move to that comment here a little later on. So let's get into the story here. Supporters of former President Donald, by the way, mainstream media is framing this as supporters of former President Donald Trump. And I find that kind of fascinating because U.S. supporters of Donald Trump are for this recall, also against this recall. And I just it gives it the appearance that everybody's kind of being a whack job, but that's not the case. Anyway, former supporters of President Trump who organized a recall effort to recall Wisconsin's top elected Republican did not gather enough signatures to trigger the recall election under one scenario reviewed by elections officials Tuesday. But it likely will be up to the states to decide the fate. What's important here is that the Wisconsin State Supreme Court had redrawn these maps and, well, they approved eventually. Evers in the legislature, they got agreement and basically shook up the entire state as far as the legislative lines are concerned. So the question is that the 63rd district does point, whose signatures are you collecting? Are you using the right maps? Story continues here. Reasons fail. More than 900 signatures of the number needed to force election in the district that Assembly Speaker Robin Vos had represented for years. However, it is not clear if those boundary lines should be used for the recall. Wisconsin Supreme Court in December tossed them last used in 2022 and barred them from future usage in future elections. However, the new map signed into law last month by Democrat Governor Tony Evers effect until November. So now that's got to go all the way back in effect for elections before November. The commission said it's Tuesday's memo that there was a recall. That if there were a recall, the primary would likely be on May 21st, with the general election being on June 18th. Now, let's go over here because this is where it's real spicy. So anytime you sign something for anything else like that, those signatures be verified. And you'll have signatures that are tossed out, signatures that are fraudulent. But it seems like in this case, those signatures, a lot of them are being called into question. Huge question. So Dan O'Donnell here reports down on WWIS at 11:30. So let's kind of come on, work for me, baby. Racine residents accused a recall Voss campaign of forging their signature. Three Racine County residents have accused the Recall Voss campaign of forging their signatures on petitions to remove the Wisconsin Assembly Speaker from office. All three have sworn affidavits in the Racine County District Attorney's Office, which had launched a criminal investigation into Recall Voss for suspected identity theft and election fraud. Sam Wallen, an Army veteran and National Guard member, told the Dan O'Donnell Show Tuesday that he did not sign the petition to recall Voss, yet his name and alleged signature appear on one of the petitions. Goes into some discussion. He asked him if that's his name, and he says, not even close, alleging that the signature was forged. So they have a conversation with him and his wife. But it's interesting because I was looking over at Wisconsin right now, and let's see if I can find that one. And by the way, for all the Wisconsin right now haters, get over it. There's so many people that just don't like them. But apparently there's just a lot of these signatures that are out of the district, out of the state. If you look here, it's illegible. It's just kind of ridiculous how this whole thing has gone down. So the Racine County District Attorney's Office confirmed that it launched an investigation into similar claims of forged signatures and is referring to complaints to relevant law enforcement agencies for investigation, and has signaled that it would file criminal charges if the evidence supports them. Oh, things are going to get spicy here. Now, one of my biggest criticisms about this whole recall effort is simply this. Fine. You want to recall the man? That's your prerogative. Do what you got to do. It's in your district. But have a strategy. And I did not see a strategy here. Who were they going to run? Were they going to back a Democrat? I mean, they were taking money from Democrats. They were getting help from Democrats, which, of course, really makes me make me reconsider the individuals that are part of that recall effort. Are you really conservatives? I get the fact that you say you're not a Republican because you don't want to kowtow to RPW or whatever boogeyman's in some of your guys' heads. I totally understand that. And to a certain degree, I respect that. But what I don't respect, and somebody tried making the argument to me, well, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I don't know if you can rationalize it like that when it comes to taking money from Democrat organizations and working with Democrats just to take down somebody you don't like. And quite honestly, if you really wanted to take down somebody that you don't like, here's a novel idea, guys. Run a better candidate. In full disclosure, part 3. Adam Steen. As a matter of fact, I think I might have been one of the first people to have interviewed Adam Steen once he announced back in 2022 that he was going to be running for the 63rd district. I had the opportunity to interview him. As a matter of fact, him and I, before I interview anybody, I always have a nice long conversation with them, good 30, 45 minutes. And we just kind of feel each other out, see if there's a chemistry that works, so that way we can have a great conversation. I like to see where they're coming from, and I want them to see where I'm coming from. And I had a phenomenal conversation with Adam Steen. He came across to me as a solid constitutional conservative, somebody who actually understood that, snapping your fingers, saying it so does not make it so. And I ran into him a couple more times during the the 22 election cycle. And I gave him a warning at one point. I was like, man, don't let people gas you up, man. Don't let them gas you up to the point where you think you might be bigger than what you are. And I remember I was telling him this. We were at Stevens Point And there was a meeting there that was going on, and a bunch of the anti-Voss, pro Adam Steen people were over there protesting. Uh, Robin Voss and Devin LeMahieu speaking at this event. And, Adam's just kind of eating it up and, okay, all right. Don't say I didn't warn you, bro. I don't listen to me. I'm just here for the popcorn. That's my thing, right? Well, lo and behold, things got really out of hand. And unfortunately, Adam Steen's gotten tied up into some mess regarding some campaign issues, possible referrals for felony charges, and it involves a couple different county parties. And I'm not going to get into the minutia of all that. But what I'm going to say is that if you really wanted to oust Robin Voss, get a better candidate. Get a candidate that will have a message that will resonate with the people of the 63rd or whatever the district's going to be going forward. Get away from this hyper emotional BS that a lot of you guys are playing and tell me facts. Don't say, well, he said he was going to do everything he can to not have Trump be the nominee. Yeah, so would every DeSantis supporter. So did every Ramaswamy supporter. Hell, so did every Chris Christie supporter that wasn't eating a Krispy Kreme or Chick-fil-A or both. Everybody wanted their horse to win. Hell, even the Nikki Haley people they're stubborn enough right now where they're going along with Nikki Haley's line talking about he needs to earn our vote. Not us, sweetheart. The last man standing. You back him or you don't. So, again, you want to get rid of the man, find a better candidate, a candidate that can resonate to the average person, the independent voter, the center-leaning Democrat. You want that person who's going to be able to transcend both the so-called MAGA movement and the so-called establishment movement. And you failed on all fronts. Because again, where was the candidate that was going to primary Robin Voss? Because you should have had this a long time ago. You should have had a name. You should have had a name. You should have had him out there campaigning. You should have had him out there fundraising. You should have, but you didn't. Here, let me piss in more people's Wheaties here. Let's pull up 10 reasons why the recall Voss effort was the dumbest political stunt here in Wisconsin. I said what I said. This is from Wisconsin right now. And for those of you guys, full disclosure number 4. I will be writing for Wisconsin right now. As a matter of fact, I've been in talks with them. I have a lot of personal things going on. I have not written for them yet, but I will. A lot of haters out in this world. So, 10 reasons the Voss recall is the dumbest political stunt in Wisconsin. And it really, really is dumb. Let's see, who pinned this here? Do I have a name? Do I have a name? Do I have a name? I do not have a name. It doesn't matter. It's from Wisconsin right now. Here we go. The Voss recall circulators claimed in the press release Sunday that they have collected enough signatures to force a recall election into Republican Assembly Speaker Robin Voss. Many questions about the Burlington area recall remain, and the signatures will surely be vetted along with the battlegrounds of those paid to collect them, or the background, excuse me. The Voss recall is the dumbest political stunt in Wisconsin history. As former conservative talk show host Jeff Wagner put on X, that's the artist formerly known as Twitter to you guys, it's a staggeringly stupid political stunt. It's also one with potentially severe consequences for Wisconsin and conservative policies. It's a waste of taxpayer dollars to recall someone from a district that won't exist in a couple months. And I believe Mr. Wagner is absolutely correct. Yes, it's even arguably dumber than the Scott Walker recall and the one in it And that one ended up building Walker. It allowed him to amass a large war chest and create a narrative of invincibility. This one is worse because it helps Democrats, yet is perpetuated by people who claim they're not. Even if the recall goes forward and Voss wins, Democrats gain because it distracts Voss at a time he's working to keep control of the legislature in Republican hands. It drains money that could go to swing districts needed to help Republicans control. If the legislature flips into Democrat hands, kiss every conservative policy you care about goodbye. We will be Illinois, California, Minnesota. Remember to thank the recall organizers for their part. And before I get into the 10 reasons here that Wisconsin lays out, let me put this out there for you. I had a conversation with a state senator about a year ago. And I was telling him my thoughts. I was like, man, if we don't win this Supreme Court seat, and it's Dan Kelly, Janet Protasiewicz, we don't win this. Dan Kelly does not win this. We will probably lose the Assembly and the Senate within 2, maybe 3 election cycles. And when I say election cycles, I'm going with a 2-year period for an election cycle. You agree with me? And it's interesting. We have not had a come to Jesus moment. We have not had a comeuppance moment when it comes to the 22 election cycle for all the people that tore everything down. Now, I'm not a fan of this whole, get in line, this lockstep nonsense. I'm not a fan of that from any side. So when I see like the recall Voss, people talking about RPW telling them to get in line, I find it interesting because when I have a conversation with some of these people, they want you to do the very same thing that they are accusing RPW of doing. Get in line. Or they question your patriotism. They question you as a conservative, a Republican. Well, hell, you can question all day long. At least I am not working with Democrats. Let me get to this here. Let's get to the 10 reasons. Now, I like the 10 reasons. I like a list of things. And 10 is a nice round number. All right. So, starting with number 1, the timing. The Voss recall increases Democrat chances of taking control of the state legislature. And I'm not going to go through all of this. I'll go through some of it. But if, and it comes down to money like we were just talking about. So let's go to the next one here. The Voss recallers have no plan and no candidate. Wow. Wisconsin right now kind of got dark on this one here. The Voss recallers have no plan and frankly don't have the skills needed to ensure Republican control of the legislature is retained. They also have no announced candidate to replace them. That all smacks of vengeance and not a concern over policy. What's their plan? They're running on a platform of we obviously we obsessively hate the guy instead of here's what we can do better. Does anyone think Adam Steen can help Republicans keep legislative control? Come on. There would be a complete vacuum in Republican leadership, not to mention plummeting morale in the ranks. Let's see here. Trying to recall Voss from an assembly district that won't exist in November anyway. Yeah, we went over that. It's unclear whether they can recall him from a voided district. We talked about that in another article. Voss was targeted for not supporting Trump, even as he has now voiced his support for Trump, and there's a 1-minute little commercial that came out here where Robin Voss does indeed say he's going to vote for Trump. Voss was elected with a 73% of the vote. And like we said earlier, I know people are going to go back and talk about how, well, he only won the primary by 260 votes. But again, 1 vote, 10 votes, 260, 2,600. Still win. This is my favorite part right here. Recallers are openly collaborating with Democrats and admit they aren't Republicans. You can read a summary of this concern here, and it gives a link. The top recaller said he isn't a Republican, and I don't want to get into some of these names because some of these people I actually do personally like. And again, I try to build relationships with everybody, so I'm not going to go into all that. The article is out there. you can certainly see that. But you can also see here, Walworth County Dems, ready to collect signatures in Burlington. Please contact Ellen, blah, blah, blah. Recall Voss response, send an email. Send an email or find us on Facebook and send a PM. The recallers are not very serious people. And in the first line, I do agree. A recall is driven by a small cabal of people who lost previous elections by large margins. I don't know what the relevance of them being failed candidates. And, I don't really have no desire to get into some of the names here, but let's go to the last two. Robin Voss has a 92% conservative voting record, and that's according to CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Conference, and 10, a waste of money. The recall wastes money in two ways. It wastes the money of taxpayers who must pay for a recall of a district that won't exist in a couple months here, and it wastes GOP money, which could be used to help conservative candidates in swing districts instead to help Republicans keep control of the legislature. Oh, snap. Spray him on. Spray on the man himself. Orlando Owens, what's going on, brother?
Man, I missed your invite. I was looking on Facebook. I got home around 7:45, 8 o'clock. I was like, is he on at 8? Maybe 8:30? And I was like, where is it was in another place. So sorry about that.
Okay. Yeah, because I started about 8:15 today, and then I sent it through. I want to say it was like 8:10 or something like that. But yeah.
Sound like you're getting hot and heavy.
I've tried to stay out of this as much as I can through the duration of this, and it's amazing how many people are sending me like all this recall Voss propaganda. And for me personally, I've kind of seen it as, do I really care? I feel like it's more in the realm of like, not my dog, not my fight. Like, let the 63rd do its thing there, and okay, fine. But the more that I see people trying to drag me into this, the more that I see people trying to make it sound like, if you don't back this thing, you're not a patriot. You're making me want to defend the man out of principle. Because like I said, I don't like being pushed into a box, into a corner, bullied, nothing like that. So it gets to the point where it's like, you know what? Now I'm just going to do this on principle. Because number one, I don't like that personally. And two, most of your guys' arguments make no damn sense.
Well, I think a little different.
No, fair enough. And you know what? Share that with us, because I think that we should be able to have that discussion. And I think, and let me just add this. The problem with some of these recall Voss people was that you couldn't have a discussion.
I think the people down there should do what they want to. I respect Jim and Jessica, but clearly they have a position on this, which I disagree with.
Mm-hmm.
I think if there's enough people to sign petitions, enough people to go out and get a candidate, enough people that want to fund the campaign. It's a legal process. We may not like it, but there's enough support to get it off the ground. I think. I don't know if it's at this point. I don't know how many signatures they got. But the essence of it is this. Again, I saw some of Jim's and Jessica's, writings. I like Jim and Jessica, but I disagree, and we can disagree. Mm-hmm. And I think that, Robin has done some things that I think people question, and it is true that he only won by a few hundred votes when Adam ran him in the primary.
The primary, right?
He won more in the write-in. I think that's fair. I mean, again, what my problem is, why are we so concerned about what's happened locally in districts that we're trying to stifle the republic process? That's on the books. It's a legal thing to do. I just saw one of the senators in Congress censored by his local state party because of his position on the border from a state party.
Yep.
So again, let this process play out. Now, again, everybody can have their opinion. My opinion is let the people down there speak. If they can get the signatures, okay. If they can find a candidate, okay. If they don't have a candidate, then they better find one. Because if it is triggered, who are you going to run against them? Are you certain that the Democrats will stay behind another candidate that may be a Republican? I don't know. The bottom line is this, and my take on this whole Robin has secured the Republican majority. He's kept a legislator from doing things they shouldn't do. Again, we can question that. I mean, Robin's been he's the longest representative that's been in office. Nothing against Robin in the aspect of the good things he's done. I think he's a lightning rod individual. There are some who like him and some don't. My concern is there's way too many people, in my opinion, given their opinion that's like support him. And they can't really say, well, besides, we've won these elections. And you know my take on the concept and process of winning local elections. So
sure,
for someone who ran statewide and saw it firsthand myself. So again, I say this. Let the process play out. If they have enough signatures, if you want to say it's the cost of it. I didn't go through all the points. I heard some of Jim and Jessica's points. Scott Walker came in under a recall.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that was one of their points, is that the recall only made him stronger.
Well, no, Scott Walker won a recall. No, Scott Walker won as county executive in Milwaukee County as a recall.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I remember that.
So
it was one of those few pockets of years that I was like still in Milwaukee when I was like hopping all over the planet. So yeah, that was.
So Tom Amen, that was the pension scandal.
Yeah.
That the people triggered a recall, and that launched Scott Walker into where he is today. It was a recall election. And from there, history is what it is. He wins the re-election in the regular election. He runs for county executive maybe twice, and he runs for governor. It launches him. It was a recall election that launched Scott Walker into where he is prominency right here in Wisconsin politics. That it would go down in history. So again,
but that's more the anomaly, though, wouldn't you say? Because don't most recalls tend to fail?
I don't know. I'm not familiar with how many historically have failed. But what I will say, if it's on the books, it's a process that you can use. We can bemoan, like, why would you want to do that? And this is the time. Why would you want to do this? Again, Robin has been on the record for a minute on saying that he wasn't going to support Trump. Even Jessica and Jim on one of the sayings that when pressed, and Jessica and Jim did a good job, they pressed Robin and said, Robin, what happened if Trump becomes the nominee? And Robin didn't give a declarative answer. It was almost like, we'll see.
Well, and it's funny because it's a non-answer. And I remember the episode, Wisconsin Right Now, they had a podcast. They had Robin Voss, and Jessica McBride definitely pressed that question. But let's bring it back here, because my problem, and maybe it's just my military background, I look at things, if I'm going to do something, I need to be strategic about it. I need to know what is the process that I got to do. How do I overshoot and do it in a way where I know all these signatures, in this case, all these signatures are correct and verifiable. That's into question right now. And there's allegations of fraudulent signatures that are out there right now.
Sure.
And then where was the plan?
Well, I think you always have a level of signatures that are going to be kicked out, be it fraudulent, give it wrong addresses, be it you are a felon and shouldn't have signed documentation in the first place. Now, I question if they went from 10,000 to 5,000. Again, I don't know, because the story's still breaking. But one of the points that Jim and Jessica talk about is, again, full disclosure, One of the people they identified as, but again, let's just continue to move forward. The recall started before the maps question came into play.
That's correct.
So to discount the effort of saying, oh, how stupid these individuals are to recall somebody in a district that may not even be there. Who knew that when they started the recall process started before the map question came to the Supreme Court, which they also now revisiting the idea of ballot boxes, but drop boxes. But nonetheless, that process started before the maps went to, and Robin and the Republicans decided, like, well, let's not fight them on this. Let's go ahead. So again, the process started before then. Now, I will say there are some legal things that this will probably end up in court if they have the signatures that actually is enough to get them even on the ballot. But again, I question everybody who's circling the wagon because they don't like this process. This process is a viable legal process. And that means that if there's enough individuals, be it Republican or Democrats, want to repress this. Now, some will say, well, you're working with Democrats to remove Robin Voss, okay?
I said it.
Okay. That you're working with Democrats to remove Robin Voss. I think you work with anybody who wants to come to the table. They sign those signatures. Now, again, if you want to say these are Democrats, I don't know if they're Democrats or not. I don't know who signed the documentation. I don't know if they're Democrats or not. We don't sign nominations based on, political affiliation. We're making these assumptions that these individuals are Democrats. I don't know. Did we do it? Did we check their voting record? Did they reveal that to us? I don't know. It's very easy to dismiss it. And I'm cool again.
Well, let me tell you why I think that assumption has more validity than I think you're giving it, because we are in an election cycle where Democrats are going out and voting for Republican issues, on Republican issues. So, for example, in the New Hampshire primary, there was one county that had like 6 people. I think they interviewed 6 people from this one particular town. All traditionally vote Democrat, and they all voted for Nikki Haley in the Republican primary. And when asked the question, there was one gentleman said he was asked, in a race between Haley and Biden, who are you going to vote for? He didn't even hesitate. He didn't blink an eye. Biden. And I think that is a trend that we're going to be seeing here nationwide. They're going to try to do the whole Rush Limbaugh Operation Chaos. And this is where, when you look at the recall effort, and here's why I call it stupid, there was no forethought. You knew. When was the election last year? April, for the Supreme Court? At that point, people knew that the maps were in jeopardy. Why didn't you plan ahead? Well, yes, you didn't have the 4 different versions of the maps that were out there.
So you can't plan ahead for that one, Ed. How do you plan?
I'm not pinning you, but what I'm saying is,
how do you plan ahead for where the boundary lines are going to be?
Well, that's a tough one, but you should know that. I mean, they already told you that was going to be first on their list, so you should have planned ahead somehow. I don't have all the answers, but I know that there's 2 trains about to collide. I know that if you don't pull that switch, one train's not going to go off. Nobody pulled the switch. The train wreck came.
I just say it's hard to predict where the boundary lines are going to be.
Absolutely, and I'm in agreement with you on that. But the other problem is, you turned in the signatures the other day. Who's your candidate? Like, really? You're just gonna pull this guy out of thin air?
Well, I think that's probably the area that I think probably should have thought more like who you want to be one of the organizers. I don't know what the conversation is being had. I don't know. And maybe it won't be a candidate at all. You trigger this and nobody wants to run. I don't know, but I would think you would have one. And maybe that candidate hadn't emerged yet. I don't know. But we are really dismissing this movement and saying that it's not organized well, it's not planned well.
Because it's not.
Well, how can you have a candidate running right now? I mean, I guess you could have a candidate running, but I think what's more pertinent, if I'm a candidate even looking at it, is first get the signatures. Let's see what happens. If it happens and it's official, now I may start saying, I think I want to do this thing. But there's a few different approaches to it. You could be one of the organizers who leading the way. I'm running, and I'm leading the way for the recall. Or
Hmm.
some might say, you know what? Let me see if you arrive there first. If we arrive there first, then let's have a conversation. And then from there, I will look at running for office. But again, if there's no candidate, there's no candidate. Um,
And
so
you're dealing with a very short window because what did they say the recall primary would be in May and in June would be the actual election.
okay,
And I might have those dates off here from what I just read, but my thing is that's not a lot of time. If they were smart, they would have a candidate out there, or at least a face. You would have a face out there that's doing PSAs, that doesn't sound like they're unhinged, that doesn't sound like they're emotional, that doesn't sound like, that they got an axe to grind with him, and I think Wisconsin right now probably framed it best. Don't just make it look like you hate this guy. Paint a picture of why you're better than this guy.
I don't think that's necessarily a bad approach. But I think also there's a high level of dislike for Robin. I won't say hate, but there's a high level of dislike for Robin.
Yeah,
And I think
and
most
it's
people
very,
have that.
and I do think that is interesting because, obviously you and I, we've been around the state over these last couple of years. We've been to many county parties. We've been at various events around the state. And it's interesting because there's a lot of people that don't know who Robin Voss is, but those in the, in the so-called patriot movement and some of the county parties, there is a strong level of disdain, whether it be warranted or not. Um, there is definitely, like you said, very polarizing.
Yeah,
I find myself more in the middle because, like, could I call Robin out on 10 different things? Absolutely. Could I give him credit for 10 things too?
I,
Not a
I give
problem.
I give you this, Ed. Some of these same people were saying Robin shouldn't be recalled. He shouldn't be this. He shouldn't be that. Are the same people who didn't support Donald Trump because he has some of the same polarizing. So it's
Hmm.
odd to me. We pick and choose when polarization becomes an issue. When
Sure.
it's Robin Voss, we should dismiss polarization. But when it's Donald Trump, we should hear what they got to say. Conservatives don't like him because we got something breaking because he needs to get the woman vote and he's polarizing. But Robin Voss is not as polarizing as Donald Trump in Wisconsin. They're both polarizing. I mean, candidates. Let's
Well,
just be clear.
and I think it's funny because I think there are further similarities in the sense that, the and I call it the Trump sycophant, but the Trump sycophant wants you to kind of get in line and, coronate the king. And then you have the Trump derangement folk out there that's like, no, the hell with him. I've always, like I said, I kind of been riding both sides of the fence to the extent that I need you to earn my vote, like I said during the first primary. But, and you and I have talked about this. Primaries are done. I mean, we're still symbolically going to have them,
No, it's
but
gonna be over tonight. It's 9:15. The last I forgot today was Super Tuesday. Georgia has spoken. I'm looking at the vote totals. That's what
yeah.
I'm looking at Georgia of how many people actually went out and voted.
Well, we know Biden's already locked up the nomination. Trump was, if I recall from Super Tuesday, he was less than 200 delegates away.
So tonight he should clamp it as well. I don't know if you're covering any more coverage. I'm trying to get my phone up and kind of watching the ticker, so to speak. But Georgia's already clocked it in. It's
Yep.
9:10, so there should be some more states also closing out now. We should be getting some exit polling numbers and maybe some predictions. Now, 2 hours ago, the General Signal saying that Robin Voss recall organizers failed to submit enough valid signatures.
Yep.
But let me see what the but is. My guess is they can also try to advocate that. Let me see what they're saying here.
My understanding is that I think if it's within the 63rd as it is now, they failed by, I want to say, like 900 votes. And the question now becomes, is it with the, what's that?
It's a court issue now.
Right. So if it goes to the other, whatever district it's going to become, what do those numbers look like?
And let's just be clear: this Supreme Court, you think, is not going to allow a recall to happen for Robin Ross?
I don't know. And that, because the new maps don't go into effect until November.
So you have to look at again from a legal standpoint that if the new maps don't go into play until whatever date you
Until
said,
November.
recalls are still a legal process. You didn't freeze the Constitution. You didn't freeze the process because you changed the map. The map say, and what the ruling has said, you cannot now. How did they say? You cannot use these maps to run in future offices.
Mm-hmm.
But this recall is based on that district. So the
Right.
question has to be, where does the Supreme Court fall on these signatures? And I would say, I'm not a lawyer, but I would say either you're going to suspend the recall process, which means you're going against the Constitution, or at least election law,
Mm-hmm.
or you have to give them that. You have to give them that in the 63rd that he's being recalled from.
Right.
You have to give them that because so this will be a court. This was going to be I think the Supreme Court, battle, because again, this recall is not about the future district. It's about his old district. But by the election law, recalls can still happen. So something has to set a precedent. Something has to have, I guess, supersede something. And that's going to be up to the courts. And the lawyers will debate on, wait a minute, so are we saying that there's no recall can happen in this time? Because the courts didn't say that.
No, and I think it'll be interesting to find out which map are they going to go with, and how does that play into the people that, weren't living in that particular district, whether it be the 63rd or whatever the new district number is going to be. Moreover, you do have a lot of signatures from people from Hartford in Milwaukee, and it's like, why would you even sign this? Like,
Well, I don't know what that was about, but
did you see that list of signatures?
I didn't.
Oh my God. There's like 1,000+ pages. I went through like 30 of them, and there were people on there from they were from Racine, they were from Waukesha, Hartford, Milwaukee. And it was like, did what part of this did you not understand 63rd? Or was it the people that were getting paid for the signatures? Did they not explain it to you properly? I don't know.
You get all that when you have volunteers and paid staffers. In the end, when it's a numbers game and you're trying to get you assume where you are, because they were meeting people in that area. I'm assuming, and the assumption
out of state. Oh yeah, it's verified. They were from out of state. They were from out of the district.
What I'm saying is, when they was getting signatures in the district, you think everybody you meet in the district is the person in that district. Now, you might want to say, well, do you live in the area, or just sign it and let the people that go through this thing, let them figure out if your address falls in or falls out.
But I think that shows a lack of political sophistication on the individual, because I'm not a fan of recalls as a whole. I would never attach my name to a recall. Like when they tried to recall Tony Evers, after the summer of love here in 2020, I just thought that was the dumbest thing in the world. Like, I think there should be an impeachment process, no doubt, but to recall, the last thing you want to do is give an incumbent the ability to have unlimited fundraising ability. And if you trigger a recall, that's exactly what you do.
Yeah, you do. You do give them an unlimited amount of fundraising, but also here's the offset.
Mm-hmm.
Only certain people come out for a recall.
That's true.
So yeah, you give up the money aspect, but you gain in that this is going to be a low turnout.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's enough frustration, your money won't play a role in this, because if you use the money you have to say these are the issues why we're running against the guy or girl, whatever the case may be. So yeah, they can raise unlimited money, but will that unlimited money really penetrate enough for the people who actually want to show up for the recall? So it's one of those things. It's a trade-off there.
That's a good question, because if it's unlimited money to a Republican candidate, I don't think it has that much of an impact. If it's unlimited money for a Democrat candidate, I think it has a huge impact. Uh, Democrats
Unlimited money.
tend to Democrats tend to play very well into ads on TV and radio, and I'm talking just your normal terrestrial TV, and radio.
Unlimited
They play
money.
very good into that.
Unlimited money only plays. Unlimited money doesn't play a role in a small, compact local race that people are locally upset. So how many flyers can you mail me if I don't like you? There's nothing you can send me,
Oh, the flyers are a joke. Yeah.
or a mailer or commercial. If I don't like you, I'm still voting against you. Now, again, if I'm a person who don't really get into this, you can send me 1,000 flyers. I'm not voting in the recall because I don't like voting like that no way. So I think in the recall, the money aspect is not as big. I think, especially if they believe the level of dislike and disapproval is so high.
Mm-hmm. Well,
If you find those.
it's funny because we thought that the level of disapproval was extremely high during 2020. There were people that were out there that wanted to do the recall on Tony Evers. And, I kind of wrestled with that because as much as I don't like recalls, I certainly understood the sentiment behind it. But, it was like, it wasn't enough to oust him in 2022.
I agree with you. Did they get enough signatures?
I don't think they did.
Okay.
Let me switch gears here real quick because I want to address this comment here from Ian. And I want to put this one to bed. I want to put this to bed. Ian, I love you. I love you, but let's keep it 100%. This is what Ian says. I've been saying this, and the MAGA group got so mad. MAGA supporters are not conservatives or Republicans. Conservatives can vote for Trump, and I respect them, and Republicans, these recall. He censored himself. I don't know what that is, but you know what? I respect the fact you censored your. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Logic is laughable. All right. Let's dispel this right now. MAGA, make America great again. If you understand the history of the acronym, it's actually something that came from Ronald Reagan. I believe it was during his 1979 campaign, if I recall correctly. I was going to go for 84 just because I like that year, but no, it was the 79 campaign. It was his election slogan, if I remember correctly. And of course, Donald Trump used it and marketed the hell out of it and did a damn good job with that. MAGA is not a conservative or Republican thing. It is a philosophical movement. And I think that's what you're missing here. I think I think perhaps maybe in the context you're talking here, Ian, this might go in line with the Trump sycophant, the Trump can do no wrong, Trump is our king, or as one very unhinged person told me one time, if Trump said it, it must be so. That's a bit of touch in the head for me, and I don't rock with that. They may be talking about MAGA, they may be in line with that, but you're looking at a very small group of people. MAGA is the foundry worker that is tired of not being able to make ends meet and wants that America they grew up in. And they want that for their children. MAGA is certainly Republicans. It's certainly conservatives. It's not the Republicans that went off and founded things like the Lincoln Project or the Charlie Sykes of the world. No. That's your never Trumper.
Oh, there you go.
They might still be Republicans, or at least say they're Republican, but that's not the same. So I think you're conflating the two, and maybe it's just the group of people that you're interacting with, and that might be. We have to be very mindful of those circles like that. So I just think that when you lump it in like that, I think you're missing a lot of pieces here. Orlando, am I wrong?
I would only say, man, again, I take Ian's comments as a grain of salt. I mean, clearly, he's on whatever he's on. and he's not the only one that make these, these type of comments. I hear mostly from the left, though, using, Democrat talking points. I hear this mostly from the left. This type, well,
Mhm.
MAGA's not, I don't know what you're talking about. MAGA's not, I don't know what you're talking about. So these are leftist Democrat talking points. And if I look at some of his comments earlier, he's also saying that the recall was done with Democrats. Well, you're using a Democratic talking point. This whole, well, Republicans are not MAGA. So what MAGA is exactly what you explained, Ed. These are people who may not be necessarily Republican county members. I would equate MAGA to the Patriot movement, to the Tea Partiers. These are people who are not necessarily in the party or in the know like that.
Well, and that's actually very important. I want you to elaborate on that because I think there are Tea Party groups that are still around. They're more on the quote unquote patriot side of things that they feel very frustrated, like their voice isn't heard. Elaborate more on that because you've talked to them personally.
Well, again, there's disconnect between what you call your traditional Republican. I would call them your country club, wine sipping, maybe, chamber of commerce Republican, versus the guys as I call affecting the boys in the back of the woods.
Mhm.
These are two different people based on class. So this whole who embraced MAGA was the guys in the back of the woods say, I don't like the Republican Party. I'm a conservative. I don't know if I'm even a Republican. If Republican is what that guy is, yeah, I don't like that. He kind of looks down on us. He
Yeah.
don't like being around us. He thinks we chewing tobacco is inhumane, and he don't like going to the tractor pull. He don't like dirt on his nails. So there's a divide there, and this leftist talking point of MAGA again. I only hear this type of terminology from the left. So again, I'm not surprised Ian is using that. Ian is, kind of went on his way, whatever. That's kind of where he is now. So I'm not surprised he would say that. But MAGA, I think, is only today's form of the patriot groups and the Tea Parties who are not a part of the county party. They are not, they may not even necessarily identify as Republicans because any labels, MAGA they like Donald Trump. They don't necessarily like the Republican Party, like Trump. And so
When I think,
given that,
mhm.
and
Go
how
ahead.
you
I'm sorry.
now you backdrop that against Robin Voss. Clearly, Robin Voss is not a person that the MAGA crowd will get behind because he's more of a traditional Republican or more of a Chamber of Commerce Republican. So he's not going to connect with them boys who drive tractor trailer. He's not going to connect with them like that. So that's wherein lies the difference of the uniqueness of the party. Who can bring those fractions together? The ones who can talk to the boys in the back of the woods, but also talk to your Chamber of Commerce Republican. Who can do that? Trump has been able to do both, but he also has an incredible ability to talk to the boys in the back of the woods, the NASCAR guys, the
Yeah.
guys who drive tractor trailer and still chew tobacco and still, go catfish hunting with their hands, stuff like that. He can still go get to those guys. The Chamber of Commerce Republican, we kind of know where they are, and that number is peaked out. This is why I have a whole different concept of statewide elections versus local elections. And I question, the record of people who have run, different things and how a local district is different than running statewide or a national campaign.
Mhm. So let me ask you this here, because I think, taking everything you said just now here, what I was also talking about what happened during the 22 election cycle and going forward into 2024 with the fragmentation within the Republican Party, within the conservative movement, is there, have we, and I'm just gonna say it. I don't think there's been a reconciliation. I don't think there's been a sit down heart to heart. Let's hug it out type of moment that's ever happened here within the last 2 years. As a matter of fact, I think the schism has gotten even further apart. Is What's your outlook going into 24? Because if I was to put money down right now, I don't think Wisconsin flips red. I think we still stay within the so-called blue wall.
Um, I think this. I think the person that can, Georgia said that Nikki Haley got, I don't know what the numbers are right now, Ed. I don't know who you're following right now. What's your
Let
ticker
me
count?
take a look. I
Nikki
have
got
to pull that
about,
up here.
last I checked, she was like at 39,000 votes. Trump was at like 100 110.
This is
maybe 100,
Georgia primary.
Georgia primary. So 30,000 people in Georgia voted for Nikki Haley, and they could have voted for Joe Biden, I guess, whatever the question may be. And that's the last number I checked. Can Trump talk to the Nikki Haley people? And I don't know what the Nikki Haley people are, because I would say Nikki Haley supporters are much more in line with the Never Trumpers and the Charlie Sykes. Ian is a Charlie
Absolutely.
Sykes guy. He's a Charlie Sykes guy. That's kind of where he is. So they're in their camp. Trump has to make a plea or an attempt to make some overtures toward them. But in the end, he cannot get so bogged down trying to appeal to them, because there are things about him they just don't like, period. They don't like the way he talks. They don't like the way he moves. So you ain't gonna never appease them, because they also fail to say they would rather see Joe Biden.
Well, you know what? And there were people in the 22 election cycle within the so-called patriot movement, and I would call them patriot. There are people within that group
I wouldn't say
that,
that.
oh, I'd say it, and I'd say it right to their face. I would say it right to their face, and they wouldn't do anything about it.
It's not about doing anything, but I believe
No, we're not going to do. Nobody's going to do anything. We're grown folk here. We don't do that.
I believe they would. I believe they felt strongly about their positions and were frustrated with.
But when they say we would rather have Tony Evers win the election if you don't do X, Y, and Z, nah, you're a patriot.
Well, this is what I will say. It is the same position that the Lincoln Project and the Charlie Sykes, and I put Ian in that category as well too. Of I don't like Trump. I ain't gonna ever vote for him. Although, would you call them patriots also?
I would call anybody at this particular point, if you cannot give me, well, first off, are you somebody who runs around claiming yourself to be a patriot? Like you're the patriot. Like if you don't align with what I'm telling you, then you're not a patriot. And I don't think Charlie Sykes, I don't think Ian, I don't think the Lincoln Project has said that. I could be wrong about that, though.
Well, they don't use the word patriot. Well, they could. What they use is the idea of the Republican Party is off its rails. They want the traditional neocon and the straight lace and cognac sipping. That's what they want. Again, that group, including Ian, they don't like talking to the boys in the back of the woods because they don't really need them. They look down on them.
I'm excluding Ian from that group, because I think the people that you're talking about, that want the whole neocon establishment type of thing, these are people that are not in touch with the average person. These are people that don't go to the bars on fish fries. These are people that don't talk to, when they go to Lincoln Day dinners, they do it begrudgingly. I'll give you a good example. My state representative in the assembly, Kevin Peterson, he was at our Lincoln Day dinner 2 weeks ago. And I had a chance to talk to him last year, and we had a sit-down conversation, good 10-minute conversation. And, I found him knowledgeable, extremely knowledgeable, as a matter of fact. But it was kind of a really weird, funky vibe. But, and prior to that, he just kind of seemed like a square. He just seemed like somebody like he wouldn't necessarily know how to build bonds or relationships or anything with. Interestingly enough, 2 weeks ago, he sees me and he actually remembered me. And we had a good 30-minute conversation. And it felt personable, relatable, like that. So I guess I tell this story because for a lot of people that like to say that the so-called country club Republicans out there, they don't understand. How many of them do you think actually do go out into the public, that do actually mingle with the average person?
They don't.
I think
not enough.
Not enough. And that was exactly what I wanted to get to. Not enough, because there are other, Republican people that I have met where they wouldn't give me the time of day. Not that I'm anything special, but I got a voice in the state. And it was just kind of like, hi, bye. All right, cool. You know what? You don't owe me nothing. I get that. But it might be in your best interest to at least have a conversation. even if it's just for 3 minutes?
So, Ed, I
Because if
think
you're going to dismiss me that way, what are you going to do to somebody else who doesn't have a platform?
so. What you don't understand, Ed, is that these same country club traditional Republicans uh, don't need them votes from the boys in the back of the woods. They know them boys in the back of the woods going to vote for conservative in their district anyway, or they won't
Right,
vote.
and that's
Like, so
eh,
therefore it is what Democrats do to the black vote. They know they have it, so they don't really have to work to convince you.
thank you. Thank you. That's an excellent point, and that's one of those things that somebody who lives in a very rural area, 66% of our vote is traditionally Republican. We are losing numbers, and a lot of it is because Democrats are now they're strategizing because Republicans take that stuff for granted. So what are Democrats doing? They're building coalitions between multiple counties out here in the rural areas, and they are building upon that. I didn't even know this until the pre-show. Apparently, Sarah Rodriguez, Wisconsin Lieutenant Governor, was up here in Watoma, which is a town that's about 10 miles from me.
And Brother Mo,
But we got Mo up in this joint.
got to bring Mo up.
Hey, Mo, you want in?
Come on in, Mo. You said last you couldn't do it. You was doing something. Come on in, Mo. Come on in, Mo.
We gotta give shout outs real quick here. I gotta give, obviously we got Ian C. Jordan. I gotta give a shout out to him. Chris Mile, what's going on? I hope I didn't mispronounce your name, brother. Hilaria De Leon, I know you're out there lurking somewhere. Joe Lozano, the repo man himself. Aaron Kleinman, what's going on, brother? Let's see here. We'll give the shout out to this man last. Rustin Province. I love Rustin. I do. Rustin makes you think when he asks questions. He really does. Here, Rustin asked a really good question somewhere. He goes, find me a Republican or a Democrat that didn't take lobbyist money in the last election who won. I think that if I dug enough, I could find it. I do. I think there were plenty of Republicans that didn't take lobbyist money, but
I don't know. I couldn't tell you, man.
let me find. Let's see here. Oh yeah, brother Gary, what's going on? Good to see you here tonight. And then of course we got the man himself, Maurice Delk. He said, "Give me a few minutes."
Okay.
Hey Mo, go to your. It'll be on your Facebook page. You know when Mo gets on here, it's gonna be lit, right? We're gonna be in so much trouble.
Well, I appreciate. I hadn't talked to Mo in a while. So again, I want government that is closer to the people. We as Republicans, either we support local government and not the federal government like that, or we support the idea of local government to be, the best government. Then why in the world are we trying to bash the people of the 63rd?
Well, my question is, and let me flip the script here. Before I do that, let's go back to Georgia real quick.
Yeah.
We got the presidential primary here, and this is from the AP News here with 56 delegates. It has been called for Donald Trump. 56 delegates going to Donald Trump, with 92% of all precincts reporting, 84.5% going to Donald Trump. That's 465,927 votes to Nikki Haley's 13.3%, 73,021 votes. Ron DeSantis didn't even run in this thing. 1.2% with 6,800. Chris Christie came in. Wow. Chris Christie, 1,797. Who's voting for Chris Christie? Seriously. All right. There were 331 people in Georgia that voted for Asha Hutchinson.
Asa Hutchinson, really?
Is it Asa? Okay, Asa.
Asa.
Like, did they wake up from cryostasis or something? Is this something like they missed something? Like, wasn't Asa like one of the first people to drop out of the race?
Yeah.
Like, I think Doug Burgum survived a little longer.
I think some of these people were probably, honestly, these are some of the third party
Protest
parties.
votes?
I wouldn't say protest votes, but these are some of the, Green Party, Libertarian Party that may not have made the ballot, and these
Oh
are some
yeah,
of the votes.
I can feel that. All right, fair enough, fair enough. So let's see here. Let's get to some of the chat here real quick. And you guys got a lot of stuff going on. Thank you for blowing this up here. I do appreciate you guys. Let's see. Let's go back a little bit here. I'm gonna make sure here. Let's see here. Ian, he goes back to the foundry worker that I talked about. He mentioned the Trump sycophants identify as MAGA. The foundry worker is a conservative, not a Trump walks on water voter.
Yeah, yeah. I don't.
I
I,
don't know if I agree with that.
that's again. I question. I'm just not. I'm just not. His sources are bad.
Well, the thing is, like, let's take the foundry worker, the grocery store worker. If you can make my economic situation better, maybe you do walk on water. Why do you think so many blacks went from voting Republican to voting Democrat during the Depression? Because FDR and the federal government under his administration were giving out jobs. And yes, the most dangerous jobs are going out to black people, but at least these black people had jobs. So they're going to vote for the person that's giving them the opportunity. And why do you think Roosevelt won 3 elections? Rustin mentions on here, he goes, I'm a constitutional conservative. By being such, ends a lot of your arguments. The voting industry in Congress, like the Patriot Act, are proof that Republicans don't respect the Constitution. Fun story here. When the Patriot Act was being decided, and again, this is what, 2002. I was I was on that 14-year freshman program. Man, was in school forever, and I was working on an associate's degree in criminal justice at the time. And I was talking to a professor. Him and I got to be really good friends, and we were just kind of chopping it up. And I was thinking, something just seems really sus about this Patriot Act. And I talked to him, and he goes, and I wish I remember his name, Snyder, Dr. Snyder. That's what it was. And he goes, well, if you don't like the Constitution and you're okay with government intrusion and unwarranted tapping of your phones and everything, yeah, vote for it. And we talked a lot more on that, and it made perfect sense. Because when you think about what happened with the Patriot Act, it was a reaction. And then, knee-jerk reactions are extremely dangerous, but it was a reaction to a horrible incident, obviously, September 11th, 2001. And everybody just jumped to it. Why? Under the guise of safety and security. Now, the one thing I will say that the Patriot Act did do that was a good thing was that, and I'm not a fan of government expansion, but if you were to take a Department of Homeland Security and you were able to coordinate information instead of having the CIA, FBI, NSA siloed with their information and not sharing between interagencies, well, that's a problem. But if you can share information, that makes it more sense. Orlando, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I missed it. I missed the conversation about the Patriot Act, but in the end, I think either we're going to get behind Trump or we're not. It's the bottom line. Either we want to agree that Joe Biden has to go, or you want 4 more years of this. Because I think at this point, even if Trump doesn't win, the individual who support America first aren't going anywhere. And they're not going back to the Polo Club and the Yacht Club Republicans. It's not that. This party has become and is a working class party, and
Hmm.
that's not going anywhere. So either we embrace it with Donald Trump, or it's coming, and you want another 4 years of Joe Biden. So that's why I have little room for people who are not on board now with Trump. I have very little room for them because it is what it
Well, you and
is.
I have had those discussions.
It is where it is right now.
Hmm.
Either you're for the ideas of freedom, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, or you're not. And if you're not, as far as a conservative stand, a conservative Republican viewpoint of it, and Trump is not the most conservative, but at least
No,
he's reasonable. If you're not for that, then hey, I have very little time to entertain silliness as some of the chat room can display. I have very little time for that because it's just not. I'm just not. You
so
are.
let me throw. Oh, go ahead.
I said you are part of the opposition to me.
And let me throw this here. And for those of you guys that are watching the live stream here, if you wonder why I'm kind of putting on just the symbol here, my logo, for whatever reason, when I'm having some issue when it comes to a delay. So I'm trying to minimize that as much as possible. Rustin put on here, the IMF banking doesn't give a rat's ass if you're left or right. They want to know what's going to cost them to get you to vote one way or the other. Rustin, you and I need to connect. I would love to have a talk with you regarding the IMF, regarding the Federal Reserve, regarding, what we're seeing here in the cryptocurrency market with Bitcoin hitting $73,000 today. I would love to hear your thoughts on the BRICS nations and the devaluation of the dollar. Like, I think this would just take it to a whole nother level. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I want to bring on one of the dopest motherfuckers that you ever done seen, and we are an hour too. So, of course, we can drop a couple no words. So, with all respect to Orlando being a minister of God and everything else like that, and Orlando was telling you himself,
Hey, I got a mouth on me too that I was working on. So go ahead.
no, yep. We just gotta keep it raw, fresh, and real, 100%. Let's bring on the ultimate brother from another mother right here. Brother Mo reached out.
What it do? What it do, y'all? What it do?
Just you, brother. What's good?
Yeah, y'all. I see my dude Orlando in the house.
What's going on, Maurice?
Man. Y'all caught me off guard. I just got in from work. I was just eating tacos. So I think I was eating tacos real quick. Set my computer up. And it's the first time I was on this type of app because I'm used to StreamYard, so something different. So
right. Nah, man. For those of you guys that don't know, you guys need to check him out on YouTube. I know you do Facebook Lives and stuff, streaming and stuff, but more YouTube and everything. Mo keeps his stuff real, and he is unapologetic MAGA. And let me ask you this, Mo. How do you see yourself if you had to put yourself in a box? And I know you're not a big fan of that.
Hell no.
Do you see yourself having any Republican leaning tendencies, or is this more about the man Donald Trump and what he brings to the table?
It's about what Trump brings to the table. Trump brings realness to the table. He is shutting down the rhinos. He's shutting down the politicians. Even though I vote Republican no matter what, but Trump shut down everything. And Trump's a gangster. I've always said that. I wasn't into politics until Trump came along. I wasn't. I was done voting. I didn't vote for Obama on the second term. I voted in the first term, and that's it. And I believe my goal is to reach the inner city, and that's what I do. I'm an influencer, especially in the Black community. I have converted over 1,000 people to vote for Trump. Just by using just simple words.
Well, I tell you, man, I've seen you in some of your videos. You're over here walking down Chi-Town and some rough neighborhoods wearing, Make America Great shirt and a hat, and brothers just dapping you up, giving you love.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, it's giving me love. Yes, it was wild. I remember, so I've been walking in Chicago, with my MAGA hat on, and people dared me. I said, I dare you to walk through Inglewood. That's the worst part of Chicago. That's the worst part of the worst neighborhood in Chicago. They said this: if you walk through Inglewood, you won't come out alive. I said, oh, really? So I went to grab my cameraman He held the camera, and I walked out and I was interviewing with a dude with a machine gun. Everything was cool. I was giving my business card out. People was hugging me. They said, "Man, you're the first activist I ever seen come through here since voting time."
Yep.
And that was it. Everybody's cool. I'm gonna keep it real with you. Black people don't pay attention. You can ask them a few questions why they don't like Trump, and they can't give you the black community is brainwashed. And sometimes I give them 3 words. That's what I do. They said, "Why you support Trump?" "Can I ask you something?" "Let me ask you something." They said, "What you want to ask me?" I said, "How you feel about abortion?" "Oh, I don't like abortion." "So how you feel about a 7-year-old drag queen?" "I disagree with that." "Oh, okay." And that's the main thing I said. I said that, the Democrats, look, I had to talk to them in kid gloves. "Do you know
Yes.
that Democrats support?" "Are you serious?" "Oh, man, you just converted me."
So let me give you this example, and I want Orlando to kind of expand upon this here because he's been doing a lot of back and forth with some liberals online and stuff, on some of their shows, like on IG, doing their thing. And
Yes.
you know what? I get why a black man or woman is going to vote Democrat because in their minds, right? Maybe they're thinking, the system's against us. They bought into the whole BLM nonsense. They bought into this, generational trauma from slavery. I'm not going to discount anything, but when you start saying, like you said, 7-year-old drag queens, you're okay with child diddlers? Like is this what you're doing? Like, you're okay with that?
Yes, sir.
And again, correct me if I'm wrong, but within the black community, kind of riding like that's not cool. Like that'll get you taken out.
And they're not. Oh man, it's all just about common sense. The community I grew up in, they don't sign up to all that stuff. They don't sign up to all that pedophilia. The community that I'm from, the community that I'm from, we were raised in church.
Yep.
We was raised you getting your ass to church, and that's it.
So
Final walk is up.
So let me ask you this. Obviously, are you're in Milwaukee area, right?
Yes, I am. Milwaukee.
Okay.
Area.
Yeah, we gotta get together one day. You, me, Orlando, have some coffee and some pancakes because pancakes is off the hook.
Yeah. I love pancakes, man.
I dropped a lot of weight. I gotta stay away from pancakes, but I'm not trying to gain like 100 pounds back. But that's neither here nor there. But when it comes to the black community, and I think both you and Orlando can kind of really chop this up here, I think it's a matter of culture.
Mo, I gotta get with you. We gotta do some work, Mo. We gotta do some work in Milwaukee. I gotta get with you, man. So I'll fly. I didn't mean to interrupt Ed.
Mo, no. You good? You good?
You good, bro?
I need your help. We need your help, Mo. We need you.
I'm willing to do it, man. Anytime I'm free.
But when it comes to the culture within the black community, I think there's things that need to change. I think the idea, because as minorities, as people of color, the number one sport we have is not the NBA. It's not NFL. It is not UFC. It is tearing each other down. So we have 3 people of color right here. We can use a politically correct term here, POCs. If one of us, let's say Orlando over there, he's blowing it up, right? He's running around here in a 2025 Escalade in the middle of March of 24. And he's just banging it like his wallet is fat, his bank account is fat, his clothes, his drip is unreal. We're going to sit here and try to tear him down because like he made some bad choices in life. That's a culture issue. What can we do to change that? And I'm not trying to give you the assumption that is facts. That is my perception. Do you, either one of you gentlemen, do you share that? What are your thoughts? Roundtable this.
Go ahead, Brother Mo.
No, go ahead, Orlando.
I think the best way you solve this is that everybody get money. That's how you do it. Let's make sure everybody get money.
Yep.
Let's put everybody on. Not just you. Let's put everybody on. So you're not envious me. I'm not envious you. Let's get everybody, their slice of pie and show them how you can get more and how you can advance yourself. That's how you do it. We all finna get money. Instead of me worried about you robbing me or trying to take from me or trying to trip me up, I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna put you on the money. I'm gonna put you on the meat. I'm gonna put you on the bait. And then from there, hey man, take it around with it. And wherever you go, you go. Instead of trying to take it from me, let me show you how to get it for yourself.
That's it. That's it. Let me show you how to get your own business, do your own thing. You know, whatever you put your mind to, you can do all things. And that's what I tell the community. You can do all things. And I always give them a testimony and says, I'm 51 years old, y'all. Mm-hmm. I got a police record like this, locked up 17 times. I'm a former gang leader in Chicago. Yep. You know, I've robbed people, I've stole, I've sold dope, you know. I've done a whole lot of stuff, you know, but God turned my life around. You know, a lot of people think that Republicans, we just these people was born or conservative was born a silver spoon in our mouth, you know. So no. Don't get it twisted, y'all. I'm ghetto as hell. I'm good, you know. I look, people see my streams. I still be on my streams. I still be on my streams smoking weed. People see me. I'm real. I'm who I am.
I'm not gonna lie. He does them late night sessions. He's like sitting there. He's got one there just lit up, and you know he got four local in his hands, and it's like, damn.
Mm-hmm. You know, and they me like, man, this dude real, man. Like, hold on, let me hang with you. You don't seem like you a Trump supporter, man. Like, well, I am. You know, like, hey, Trump a gangster. You know. Look, hey, let me be real with you. Feds came to my crib the other day morning, so you know, dealing with things that I say online.
Right. Well, but I think that's an interesting point because
I'll tell you about that on the back end, yo. They came to my crib.
They came on in. Man, Mo's wild. But you know, I think that's something that conservatives have been missing, because when it comes to like culture, you also have to incorporate things like movie style, music, literature, all these other things. And I think as conservatives within the conservative, Republican, MAGA, right-leaning libertarian, a lot of us have missed that boat. It is, you know, we sit here and we try to talk to people on just simply policy. And I'm a big policy wonk. Orlando's a big policy wonk. Mm-hmm. But, you know, you have to get that emotional hook with people first. Bring them on in. You know, how do you get somebody to hear you and what you have to say unless you can connect?
Well, so often there's a saying that goes, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Mm-hmm. Bottom line, Brother Mo is giving you his testimony like he can relate to people, because he said, man, I've been in bad situations. Mm-hmm. I've made some wrong decisions. I've made a lot of missteps in my life. But through Christ Jesus in this great country, man, you don't have to do that anymore. I'm not here to talk down to you, but I am here to encourage you, say, yeah, brother, I know exactly what you're doing. I ran them same corners. I've been in them same places. And he's giving that testimony. I gave my testimony that I, you know, had a tumultuous divorce. And there's some, even in the chat room, who want to denigrate that and say, well, you're not fit to do this. I'm fit to be an American. I'm fit to be a child of God. And that means when I go through trials, tribulation, and you still dust yourself off. And some of those same individuals live in glass houses themselves. And you know what I'm talking about. Got their own situations. But want to somehow, you want a high sign for people who want to give you love. But all I'm saying to what I'm saying to you is, Brother Mo can connect, because he said himself, I've been, you know, not the most best person. I know what the penal system is. That's old school, the penal system.
Penal system, yes, sir.
Yeah,
I can tell you from my standpoint, I know what it is to have lost gained something, grew up poor. Got to the middle class a little bit and lost it all, and had to start all over again. And that means we can connect with people that say it makes sense to me. Like you can relate what it means to be hungry. You can relate to me. It means like Yeah, I've loved and lost before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been divorced before and lost it all. Again,
Yes,
you have
sir.
people, even in this chat right now, who want to high sign and show their tail for folks because they want to get in with the in crowd because that's more easy for them. And you know what I'm talking about. Go ahead, Mo. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I like hear you talk, man. Yeah.
I mean, again, this is the connectivity. The individual thinks somehow that Black conservatives are somehow disconnected from where we came from. I'm not here to disparage anybody from the blessing of your life. If you grew up middle class, hey, man, God bless you, man. It's just not my testimony. And I'm not saying my testimony is more powerful than your testimony. Because growing up middle class or upper middle class doesn't mean you had it easy either. You may have the same challenges, but you have your own form of challenges. And I can respect that.
You heard me?
Respect that. You know, for me, yeah, I wasn't in. Well, I messed around the streets just a little bit myself. You know?
Right.
And for me, I understand that only through hard work, man. As a former athlete, and you can't tell today, but as a former athlete, I can only tell you, as a former academic All-American, I can only tell you, there's only one plan to success. First, have faith in God. And secondly, you're going to work your Black behind off.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. There is no shortcuts. And, you know, again, if you call that conservative ideals, my granddaddy called it this. He said, that's what a man's supposed to do.
You feel me? You know? It's more, you know what? Black folks, I'm going to tell you this stuff, man. I hate to throw color in this. Like I said earlier, a lot of us grew up in strict homes.
Yes, sir.
You know, look, I grew up in a strict household and went to gang banging. A lot of my clique grew up in a strict household and got their tail whipped by their mama and went to gang banging, went to selling dope. One of my good friends grew up in a strict household, and guess what? His mother was a cop, was a cop, whatever, and he became a gang leader, and he was in jail for murder. So people can rebel. You know, don't let it fool you grow up with a strict household.
let me throw this at you here. And you said something, and tell me if I'm picking up on this wrong, but their mother. Where was the father? Because I guarantee you, I grew up in a strict household, and you know, mom laid the law down, but at a certain point, you get bigger than mom, and it's like, yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah. Don't make me call you dad. My father just passed away here in 2023. My father passed away here, you know, almost a year ago. And even now, I still have a healthy degree of fear of him. Why? Because one of the worst things, it wasn't even so much like you can get your ass whipped or anything. It was like, man, I'm just disappointed with you. Like I would take like a punch in the face rather than hearing that. But, you know, when we look at the breakdown of the nuclear family, when we look at the strong male figure in America, I think we're seeing that disintegrate within Black communities, Hispanic communities, Hmong communities, you know, white communities. Why do you think we got all the nonsense we have going on? Why is crime through the roof? It's the emasculation of the American male.
Yeah. I won't do. Go ahead, Brother Mo.
Father's not in the household, you know. And I tell you this, I had raised my last two kids, went through a divorce when my daughter got almost 16 years old, but that made it different that I was at least there until she was 16 years old.
Yep.
You know, and they had a fear of me. And as soon as I'm not in the household, it was a little different. Their mama was a little bit more of a pushover. Me, I just give them this mean look like, boy, y'all better stop playing. We go to church, I pitch him in church. Boom! I didn't care. I was harsh. I didn't care.
Like, don't make me snatch you here in public. Don't think I won't.
I will.
Well, I think there's a need for two parents. It's the way that God intended it. We go through things, but ask any two-parent household. They will tell you how tough it is to raise one child. Just imagine being a single parent and maybe having one or multiple children.
Multiple kids, absolutely.
So trying to identify and give proper gender role assignments, trying to be there for them, it is tremendous. And that's why the goal was always, the master plan was always for us to be together, not separated. So again, it's important that we look at those things, and as much as we can, we want to try our best to stay together. And I think what Ed you touched on, Mo brought up, is that the need for a 2-parent household, and that idea is not always supported by the left. They think that it's okay to be, and that's no single parent think that was an ideal situation to be in.
Yeah.
They wish that things were different, and it just didn't work out. They don't think that I could do it. Like, no, I'm here with my wife, and I can tell you how much more she does for my son, and two, that the number of diapers she changed, the number of times you gotta just get him to calm down. She was by herself, and I'm not saying I'm the biggest, whatever, but just the things, the time we spend together, and him, I can't imagine her trying to do this by herself, and think he's going to see a healthy male and a healthy female connect. My son is so sensitive to the fact of the mood in the room, the vibe. When me and her get a little bit loud, he'll jump up. Hey, no. He's 2, but he can sense the voices being elevated.
They can switch that, right?
He can sense that something's going on with mom and dad.
Yes.
He'll say, hey, no. At 2 years old.
Yeah.
And he can sense that mom and dad ain't grooving. I heard dad bark. I heard mama bark back. Something ain't right.
Yeah, well, they feel that energy. Mo, you had something on that? Go ahead.
No, you can go ahead. You go ahead. I want him to finish what he's got to say.
Was it that the importance of having that nuclear family, and any political party is not pushing that it's better to be together. Any political party that tells me I need to disarm myself, now I'm going to bring up Killer Mike. Any political party that tells me I want to limit myself for self-protection. Any political party that tells me I make too much money, that's not something I'm going to rock with. Any political party that tells me that I don't have the right to serve and follow God that I choose, but has more emphasis on you can choose to kill a baby if you want to.
Oh, Killer Mike, that one dude.
Yeah, black rapper. Big old motherfucker. Yeah. He was dropping some knowledge.
Yeah, he's supporting Democrats, but the end still, I think honestly, and we can all attest as being people of color, I think we're more there's a strong level of libertarian in us. A strong level of I don't like government at all if I could choose. And I think Killer Mike is kind of teetering and tottering on that. I'm a Democrat. I believe in progressive ideas. And those blacks use the idea of progressive. And they always look at, they equate it back to race of where we need to progress to. But they don't understand all that progression that you claim you want to have. It comes with some things. And that progression means you don't have your right to have no gun.
Well, and Killer Mike, from what I've been able to kind of pick up on, he seems to be more left-leaning libertarian, where he wants to kind of fall in line with the more traditional Democrat, the JFK Democrat, versus the woke nonsense BS ideology. And it's interesting because when you listen to him talk about, hustle, grind, putting in work, this is a very different philosophy than your traditional leftist. He ain't trying to hear this, I'm a victim. And it's like, nah, you just give me the ball. Give me the ball.
Hey, look, I'm a conservative and I'm for reparations. So, but a lot of conservatives agree with me on that one, but I am. But I vote right winging. I vote Trump, but I believe if Indians can get it, why can't we get it? That's what I believe. But I don't advocate for it, but I believe we should get reparations. I always felt that.
So let's talk about that, because I know that's been a hot button issue in the past. Let's bring it
Conservatives
up here now.
that, but
What's that?
A lot of conservatives have actually. I had a lot of conservatives cancel me because I made a video about that.
Sure.
Oh, you a rhino? You a fake conservative? Like, oh Lord.
What again? What is a rhino?
An opinion.
So let's talk about that. The reparations. If anybody remembers, back in the early 2000s, Dave Chappelle had that skit where everyone got reparations, and there was that one dude. Every black person got reparations. There was that one dude. He had like a whole semi truckload of like menthol cigarettes. That's what he spent all his money on. And it was hilarious. Chappelle, definitely the GOAT. But Rustin, one of the guys in our chat here, and I got to connect with him. He goes, "Can the Irish get that too?" Talk about reparations. Why do you think individuals who never been slaves, haven't been owned by anybody, should get reparations? Other than, I think the most basic of answers is it's a payday.
I said I'll take the reparations. I'll push it before I can take it, and I'll do good things with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we ain't get no reparations. I won't lose sleep. I'm okay. Yes, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Read between the lines what I said. I said, I'll take them reparations. I'll push the reparations. I'll take it and do great things with it. I said, we get reparations. I'm going to treat all my white friends. So I'm not against it. Read between the lines.
So what you're saying is that if you're going to pay me, I'm not going to turn it down.
Right. That's all. That's what I'm saying. That's why I said I don't advocate for it. I'll take it. I'll be like, all right, sign a petition for reparation. I sign it. I want it. You get money.
Wait, you give me 40 acres of the mule?
We get reparations. I don't want us to get reparations. We played the slave mentality. No. Yo, Masa, I want my reparations.
Well, and at least I can respect that as an honest perspective. It's like, if you're going to pay me, I'm not going to tell you no. But I think the problem is when we talk about reparations, a lot of these cats out here talking about, slavery's caused, generational trauma. It's like, is it slavery causing generational trauma, or was it your last relationship that's causing the trauma that you had? Mm-hmm. Is it that you can't pick a good man or a good woman that's caused your trauma?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Real quick here, I gotta put a quick little PSA here. Thursday night, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, I'm gonna have Milwaukee mayoral candidate David King on, and we're gonna be having chop up this conversation. We're gonna talk to him about his race, and then I have a few other senatorial candidates for the U.S. Senate race here on the Republican side that are running against Tammy Baldwin. They got to get through the primary first, but I'm in talks with 4 of them actually, and hopefully we'll get them lined up. I know there's some seismic things going on as far as who's running for U.S. Senate with the maps as they are now, and it's going to be very, very interesting, very great conversations going forward. But Orlando, go ahead, chime in here. We're talking about reparations, or Mo's talking about, if you're gonna pay me, pay me.
So I will only say that the match wouldn't matter on the Senate race because it's only 2 United States senators. It may play a role in the congressional districts, but I think our state Supreme Court said they're not going to, because Tony Evers went from the state maps. And then they made a move to say, what about the congressional maps? And I think our state Supreme Court said, we're not doing that. We'll hear your argument, and they agreed on it, whatever, for the state's maps. So I think the congressional maps will stay in place. Senate, there's no map for it. Senate, the center is the whole state.
Yeah, it's up and down. Yeah.
So reparations, I'm just not one to support reparation. If I had a vote back then, I would have voted no for reparations. I think a more historical link would be 40 acres and a mule.
Mm-hmm.
That was an actual proposition that Lincoln initiated before he was assassinated with some of his generals about what do we do with these freed slaves? What do they want? What do they need? What are they saying? And so I think that's a more of a historical, argument. Again, I think America has so many things that we have benefited from opportunities we had in this country. But I think we should be more focused on those things. But again, I mean, it's not gonna happen. So again, I guess it's something. Well, if you ain't gonna push for it, it ain't gonna happen. Like, okay, then I guess I ain't gonna push for it. I rather deal with people right now and where they are and how can I help them. But if those are some who take up that challenge and that battle, hey, go right ahead. I just don't think there's going to be enough momentum. I think it was wrong. I think there are some things that we did historically in this country and in this world that slavery was different than the people that we gave reparations for. I think in this country, it's an ugly fact, but it is a fact. I need to say this.
But why the hell them Indians get it though? Why they got them damn Indian checks?
Now, again, I think that there was probably a misstep. I think that they have Indian land, they have casinos that are, these lands are not even, these are Providence. I think that there's a need for, was there a repayment or acknowledgement that we took this land, and I don't think we took the land. I think we won the land in battle. Yeah. I think we should have never had to capitulate to say we're going to carve out and give you money for the land we won in battle. I don't understand that. I think we were probably wrong in that thinking. And I would also say that as ugly as it is, slavery was a slave trade. Those slaves were bought and paid for. And that means that unfortunately that was the currency and that was the trade during the time. As ugly as it is, and inhumane as it is, that's a fact of that concept that happened.
But let's say this here real quick, and let's be. And when we talk about slavery, I feel that a lot of people, especially here in America, are intellectually dishonest because they make it seem like it's only a Black experience. When you look at the totality of the world, right? Well, let's just start with Black folks, right? First, they enslave each other, tribal warfare. And then when white folks come along, well, you know what? I can sell these motherfuckers here and I can go ahead and make a profit and, blow up my bank. So why aren't you giving reparations from them people over there in like Nigeria or Angola, or wherever the hell else? Better yet, what about all the other people that enslaved each other? The whites, the Native Americans, the Chinese, the Japanese, the Chinese. Nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about the fact that today in 2024,
we still got
something. Thank you.
We have sex trade. You got slavery going on right now in with the Uyghurs in Japan. Or I think it's
the Uyghur Muslims.
You're the Uyghur Muslims.
No, in China, yeah.
I'm sorry, China. Okay. And it's still happening again, as horrific. And it is the ugly part of history that we can talk about. And I think that for the energy, I just think that again, we have Blacks sell Blacks into slavery. Slavery is a byproduct of war. When you lose the battle, we rape your women, we enslave your children, and we kill your men.
Yep.
That is war. It is ugly. It is not.
And for the purposes of YouTube, these are historic facts. This is something that has happened between warring tribes, whether you're talking about here in America, in the Caribbean, in Central America, all across the planet. This is the nature of humanity. As ugly as it is.
Have we seen the footage that's coming out of Haiti right now?
Oh my! You with barbecue?
Yeah. I mean, if we show that on these socialist platforms, they'll flag it.
I mean, have you seen some of the footage coming out of Haiti?
Yeah. There's the most powerful man in Haiti right now is the guy who goes by the name of Barbecue. And there's footage of him literally cannibalizing another human being.
Good Lord.
Apparently, the president of Haiti, I guess he's supposed to resign, or he's saying he's going to resign. He's in exile at this point. That was the latest story I've seen on that. Yeah, that whole country is completely destabilized.
We saw what happened in Gaza with
Yeah.
Hamas, and this. I mean, we saw graphic footage. I just remember the girl with her pants on and this blood, showing from the backside of her.
Good
Like,
Lord. Good Lord.
So don't tell me about what the issues are in this country.
Mm-hmm.
You have the nerve to talk about how America is still such. We've come a long way. I believe, and I say this quite often. I don't care who's hear me when I say it. America is the greatest country ever. It is not perfect. She ain't perfect, but she's the greatest ever. We don't have. I mean, we do have an issue here in this country, and I was about to say something I shouldn't have said, but yeah, we don't have regime changes like coups. You say, well, January 6th, well, whatever, man. Stop it. So I'm just, I know America isn't perfect, but I do also know of how great America is and where we are right now with individuals who want to constantly get on Donald Trump and just, continue to drive home his negatives, but have no problem looking past Joe Biden's negatives. I just got a real problem with him, and I just don't have time for him because too much is at stake here. I have a 2-year-old getting ready to turn 3 in about a month. I got a grandson that's probably about 4 weeks old at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
So these things are important to me, and I'm about to hit the 5-0 myself.
I done hit the 5-1 last weekend. Hey, shout out to Mono up in here. What's going on, dude?
Man. I mean, I'm the oldest one on this panel.
Well, you probably got me by a few months.
Yeah.
That's all right. We're like my son said, Dad, you're not old. You're ancient. You little guy.
Yeah. Cool.
So let's flip the script here real quick here, because I want to wrap this up here. I want to do with some positivity here. We know that in May we have RPW, Republican Party of Wisconsin. We got our convention here in Appleton. Then we know in August RNC has their convention. We know that as of tonight, Donald Trump probably has all the delegates that he needs to wrap up the Republican primary. So every primary after this is just a matter of formality at this point. What do we do? What's the message going forward? That when we talk to people, what is the message going forward to paint a picture of a better America as we go into 2024, 2025? What is the picture that we paint to the average person? Maybe they're not policy wonks. Maybe they're just NPCs, normies. Mo, I'm gonna give it to you first, man. Break it down. How do we talk to these cats?
It's the principles. I'm in my head a talk with Brandon Tatum like 4 years ago.
Yep.
And I said, we can't force Trump down their throat. We can't be like mocking to them. It's the principles. We got to talk about the principles. We got to talk about morals, and that's it. And that's what my goal. Like when I talk to the community, I go right to the principles, right to the morals, and that's it. And won't even have to talk about Trump. Won't even have to talk about MAGA. A lot of times I wouldn't have to walk around a MAGA hat on. I just throw my Bulls hat on, whatever, and just chill and talk about morals, principles, and I show my actions and give them my testimony and and say we all are living testimony, and that's it. We it's like you gotta let your light shine. Like the same way when you're a Christian, you can't be like, oh, you can keep poking them like you're going to hell if you don't turn to Jesus. No, you got to show them by your actions too, about what's going on. You got to show it by your actions, because actions speak louder than words. And then when your action speaks, you can I'm telling you, then you can start speaking. Then you can start talking. because you already talked with your actions.
Yep. Brother Orlando, what you got to say on that, man?
I use a old phrase that it's tried and true, and I think it's so relevant today. Are you better off today than where you were 4 years ago?
Mm.
Do you like what's happening in the economy and the streets and where your hope is for tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
Gas prices, food costs, having government,
I like that. I like that.
arrests, journalists,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
content creators. Do you like a continuation of a two-tiered justice system? The people who are, doing these things, but you've been held to another standard. Do you like that? And if you do, then I think you know where you probably should vote. But again, are you better off today than when you were 4 years ago with a guy named Donald J. Trump?
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
And that's why I always go back to, when people talk about, Trump being this terrible guy, and it was like, to a certain degree, certainly I can agree with it. He had a mouth like no other, and he picked fights where he didn't need to pick fights. Absolutely. And I'm not a fan of what I saw over the last few years, but you know what? Again, give me no new wars. Give me the Abraham Accords. Give me, for every regulation you create, you eliminate two.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the Keystone Pipeline. Give me fracking drill, baby, drill. Give me a dictator and day one. Paint me. This is the picture I want. This is the picture I'm going to tell people. If you want prosperity, if you want jobs, if you want to see, you don't want to see, unemployment is down to 3.7 or inflation is down to 3.7%. But is it? It's not when you eliminate energy, housing, food, the three biggest expenditures out of everybody's wallet. You know what? If you eliminate my mortgage, if you eliminate my gas costs, if you eliminate my food costs, dude, I'm a baller. 100%. But guess what? That ain't reality. So let's get the reality that we want. Let's make that happen. And I want it for everybody. I don't care if you're a Democrat, a Republican, conservative, liberals. Y'all can go out and live in the forest. I don't care. Hang out with the trees and the bears and eat the berries and the cricket, whatever.
Go ahead and create your forest fire, okay, y'all?
Exactly.
I want to give you a breaking news report, Ed.
Breaking news. We like that. Breaking news.
Breaking news. Donald Trump officially has become the GOP nominee. Donald Trump has won enough delegates to become the presumptuous GOP presidential candidate. That comes from Fox News 10 minutes ago.
Oh, yes, sir. Let's verify that real quick here. I'm going to give you, I'm going to share it on my screen. And credit to Orlando for sharing this here. This is from AP, slightly different tier update. Donald Trump needs 1,215 delegates to win the nomination. Today, he has netted 1,228 delegates. Nikki Haley got 94. Mo, I gotta ask you this question. Nikki Haley won Vermont on Super Tuesday, and the week before she ended up getting DC. If you were on the Trump campaign and you could advise them, what kind of commercial would you have for against Nikki Haley over the fact she won DC?
Oh man, you said commercial?
Yeah, it could be an audio commercial, TV commercial, online, whatever. What would be your advice on how to exploit that?
Oh my God, I'll expose. I'm just saying. Wow, I will make her a parody.
Yeah, man.
Well, the fact that she won, it's like, you won DC.
What DC?
The swamp itself.
The swamp itself.
Don't sit there and brag about it.
And that looked like some damn liberals voted for her ass.
Well, what are there, like 6 or 7 Republican voters in DC?
Wow.
Other candidates here who got some delegates. DeSantis got 9. Ramaswamy got 3. Nobody
I like
else got
Ramaswamy.
anything.
I like that man. I don't care.
I love that man.
Yeah. A lot of people say he's just the, Johnny come lately, whatever. I love the Johnny come lately, whatever they want to call him.
Ed, you may want to update. You may want to update your updates. Can you find any more sources? Because I'm breaking that Trump has clinched it.
Yeah, I got the AP that has verified that.
Did they say they clinched it or he's still down?
No, he's got it. He's got to 1,215 delegates is what he needs. With this win with Georgia for the 56 delegates out of Georgia, that gives him 1,228 delegates.
I hate looking up Google though.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I'm looking up Google and they ain't gonna look. See, they ain't showing it.
So what happens now?
There you go.
Now they can start doing joint fundraising with the RNC.
That's a great question, and I don't know the answer to that. Obviously, he's clinched it, but the other states, like Wisconsin, we still got to have ours here in April. The question is, and I guess we'll know more as people smarter than us are going to be able to kind of piece that together, and we'll hear about it in the next couple hours.
I got a question for y'all before I got a bone to pick with the Republicans here in Milwaukee. And I'm gonna say
Go for it.
I'm gonna say this. I've been going every Friday and trying to get involved. And then every time I go there, it says, we'll be back. We open a certain time and I never can get in. I try to get involved over there and they ain't never open over there on MLK in North Avenue. Never open. A couple of Black Republicans came on there. They never opened.
I'll send you out once we go off and we have our backstage conversation. Ed always does that. We can talk and exchange information. I'll give you also the hours of the office.
Yeah, but it showed the hours on the thing, and I'll be driving over there on Fridays.
You let me know. You let me know because I know the young man over there. We do have an RNC staffer over there, and he should be there unless he, has a meeting or something. He does have office hours, so we can get better, Mo. We can get better. We'll tighten it up.
Okay, good. Because I got kind of discouraged and they want to go there the last 3 weeks. I haven't been there.
Well, I'll tell you, I share the same frustration in my county. I live about a half hour west of Oshkosh. And in my county, we don't have an office. They don't do any meetings. They don't do anything like that. They have a Lincoln dinner and a couple different things, but it's not enough. Where's the get out? And I try to be a part of my county party. I was the vice chair and
encouraged by me to do it.
Encouraged by Orlando. Absolutely.
Orlando.
But here's the thing, though.
It was a bad experience for him, though.
You know what? But I'm glad I did because it gave me a lot of experience. It gave me a look behind the curtain to see that the great and powerful Oz is not as great and powerful as everyone thinks that they are. And I've come to the conclusion that am I going to be a part of my county party? Sure, absolutely. But as one person in the county party, I couldn't do anything. But as one person outside of it, doing what we do here now, what you do, Orlando, what you do, Mo, what I do, any one of us is more powerful than any one county party.
Yeah.
And that's facts.
Big facts. You dig?
So, gentlemen, let's close this out here. We'll do a wrap up afterwards, but let's shut it down to the rest of the public. I want to thank you guys for joining me on here tonight. Orlando Owens, Mo reached out. Mo, I can't wait to sit down and break bread with you one day.
Yeah, I definitely can't wait to sit break bread with you, man.
You know what? I need to
take you in Appleton, bro?
I'm west of Oshkosh. I'm close to Appleton.
Okay. Orlando, where you at, man? Are you in Milwaukee area?
I'm Milwaukee, man. I'm off Good Hope.
Oh, you over there? You over there by Bishop Hines Church? Okay.
Yeah, I'm off Good Hope, man.
So here's where we meet, right? And I have a reason for this. Fond du Lac. Popeye. Do you guys like Popeye's chicken? And I'm not saying that because you're black.
Of course, we Negroes.
The reason I say Popeye's chicken, right? And this is how I know God loves me. About 3 years ago, they put a Popeye's chicken in Fond du Lac. And 3 years ago, I was about 317 pounds. And now I'm about 225, 230.
Oh, you lost 100
And
pounds too?
oh, yes, I was a big boy.
Dude, I lost 100 pounds too, but I met my fiance and I gained 50 of it back. It's her fault.
Well, you know, it's only 50, man. Don't worry about that.
I know.
But here's why I love Popeyes and Fond du Lac, right? I found the best chicken that you can get from Popeyes is in the hood, like 6 in North, over there by what's the one by 76 there?
I used to hear a section. No, one time they was out of chicken when I went there.
Yeah, and you have to ask the question: How do you run out of chicken? You're a chicken joint.
Sydney rolls ran out of chicken. I swear.
So the downfall is that these local restaurants have some great food.
Oh yes.
Unfortunately, you know, the customer
you
service,
risk your car,
right? And some of the services are not there, but they have great food, and so they always sell out. It's just it's a really it's a nice chain. They have some really great ingredients. I think we have very few KFCs left in our city. Popeyes is one of those chains that unfortunately it's hard to find great workers.
And that's everywhere. And that's everywhere. But let me tell you why Fond du Lac. Let me tell you why Fond du Lac is a place. Because Fond du Lac is the only Popeyes chicken I know that doesn't have bulletproof glass. We're all gonna be safe.
Hey, that's racist. I'm offended.
They definitely have an open counter. The rest do, and it's just one of those things. Unfortunately, they are a victim of their success. They have some of the best chain, good fried wings you can find, and they are a victim of their success. And people still go because it's so. Again, if the food wasn't great,
nobody would go.
No, but so food.
I'm just saying, you go over there on the south side, right? You're 16th and National. Getting around through the drive-through, that's hell right by itself. And then you got to deal with somebody like, what do you want? Excuse me? And it's the horrible audio system. And then what's worse, you pull up and they slide the drawer out, and you would tell the tray's been shot 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And the bulletproof glass is 3 inches thick, and it's man.
But the food's so good.
And they got to get spicy. So yeah, that's spicy. Gentlemen, let's reconvene here. Thank you guys for joining in here tonight. We got Brother Maurice Delk up in here. We got Brother Orlando Owens. I want to thank you guys for joining tonight. We had a great conversation. Obviously, I probably pissed some people off on my conversation about Robin Voss, but you know what? It is what it is. You know what? If you want to take down the king, make sure it's a kill shot. Make sure that you run a proper candidate. I said what I said. On that note, guys, Thursday night, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, Dr. David D. King will be having a conversation with him on his Milwaukee mayoral race. Watch out for next week. I got a lot of stuff up on deck here. So on that note, good night. God bless you. God bless the great state of Wisconsin. God bless the USA. I am out.